fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
It's time to get ready for our 5th annual Stock Up event on March 3rd from 10 a.m. to 2. Don't miss out on these exclusive savings, raffles, and Fisherman Source giveaways. We'll be featuring several local vendors, pro staff members, and most importantly, free food. Can't wait to see you guys there.
8 more days. That's right, 1 week, 1 day from today, Thursday, February 22nd. Of course, it is a leap year, so we have to get through next Thursday, February 29th. That only happens once every 4 years. And then on March 1st, it's go time. Outback striper fishing in the Garden State. Winter flounder, too. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. If I were to shake that magic 8 ball to tell us what we're in store for, I say without a doubt, decidedly so. Yes, definitely, you may rely on it. Outlook good, signs point to yes, right from the get-go on March 1st. Look, I saw someone posted on our YouTube video last week. They said, Jim, you have a striper obsession. There are other fish in the sea. That's true. I do have a striper obsession, but at this point in the Garden State, towards the end of February, there's not much else to really talk about. At this point, we have maybe 5 or 6 boats sailing offshore for cod, pollock, haddock, ling, and or blackfish, primarily out of Shark River and Manasquan. You can pick up the February edition of the Fisherman magazine to see who's sailing. So yes, you can hit this weekend and get out along the rails of your favorite head boat and get into some action. Now, tog action has been a little picky, and at this point in February, most of the boats that hit it hard in January and the first part of February are going through their maintenance routines at this point to get all prepped up for stripers at the end of March, going into April tog again. So yes, you also have white perch from shore. I cannot give you specific spots. Talked to a bunch of people at shows recently, and I can give spots on a one-to-one basis, but I can't here. Suffice to say, areas along the Raritan, the Hackensack, the Toms River, the Mullica, the Great Egg, up near Tuckahoe, and also some of those tributaries off the Delaware. You might even try some of those local canals or lagoons. I know if I head down back where I grew up, Beach Haven West, Tuckerton, Mystic Island, some of those pockets you can find some white perch back there. You could try some small spinners, lures like the tsunami swim shads perhaps. But I did spoke to Dave at Absecon Bay Sportsman this week about the bloodworms that he's keeping in stock, and he says, yes, bloodworms work, but he said, if you can find a nice little hole where you get a bunch of shrimp, the live shrimp are definitely the bee's knees at this point when it comes to white perch. But it's those bloodworms that folks are soaking now for perch in some of those areas that I talked about. They can't get through the striped bass because the stripers are stacked out back, west of the coal regs. Again, 8 more days, and that will reopen. But that's according to all the tackle shops that I've spoken to in the last week. That's all my fisherman sources here at the Fisherman magazine. Fisherman Source, yes, in Ocean Township. That's where I am right now. Next Sunday, March 3rd, Fisherman's Source, which is here at 3501 Sunset Avenue in Ocean Township, not far from Asbury Park, Monmouth County. They'll be hosting their 5th annual Stock Up event with incredible savings, raffles, food trucks, local vendors. Did I mention incredible savings? Here's what I've got. This is what they're looking at Sunday, March 3rd here at Fisherman Source. Select gulp pints starting at $9.99. We'll talk about fluke in just a minute. Gulp half pints starting at $4.99. 9-inch tsunami, the 9-foot Tsunami Shield combo, less than $100. That's less than the price of the reel by itself. Penn Slammer 5500, Bayless Reel 50% off. Again, outside food trucks, all kinds of great specials. They told me here this afternoon that just about everything in the store is going to be for sale. I'm standing here in front of our favorites, the NLBNs. They'll start working the smaller swim shads, especially on the Raritan, Toms River, sometime in the middle of March. Some super strikes when the things really turn hot and heavy in the surf and along the Raritan Bayshore. I would encourage you to stop in here as well. This is one of the top lures that we heard this past fall, the Azori Twitch baits. I had some guys swearing by them, buying them off the shelves. What I'm very excited about, I met with Chris Bishop back in December, and they've got something brand new called the Hydro Monster Shot that you'll find here at Fisherman Source now and also next Sunday, and I believe it'll be on sale. next Sunday. What makes this so good is what Chris was explaining to me. This is a long cast Yuzuri. It's heavy, it casts a mile, so in those situations where the bass are on bunker and they're just a little bit out of reach, cast one of these. You can get them there, it's going to sink, it's going to kind of flutter down. Chris was telling me that's where you're getting the bites. A couple of cranks back up, it comes back to the top, and you're actually working it in flutter style all the way back. But you got to check those out. This is a great event, happens every year, and just in time for the striped bass opening. So it's that weekend, right? So if you want to get your mojo running, or your striper mojo, this is where you want to be. Great shop, great opportunity to kick off this event. Regrettably, I won't be able to be here next Sunday because myself, along with the Fisherman magazine, we're going to be at the Atlantic City Boat Show. That's next weekend. That's February 28th through March 3rd at the Atlantic City Convention Center. It's a fantastic boat show, the best. Some great stuff. We've got our seminar series is happening again. We'll kick that off on Wednesday afternoon. Actually, I'll be talking about striped bass. On the seminar stage there in Atlantic City. We'll talk about some of the baits and circle hooks and the rigging advice and talk about some of the regulations we're looking at. It's always a great event. Phil from the Goose Hummock, he's got his big presentation. He's got a tank where he's going to do some casting demonstrations. I would imagine Darren Doris will be out there for a while because he's given us a seminar as well on Wahoo. But Phil's also doing a lot of the tuna seminars. We've got a tuna workshop every single day there in Atlantic City. And that, of course, that whole seminar area, it's back against the back wall. It's right across from the Fisherman booth, 726. We actually have two booths at the end of the marketplace in 726, and we've got you coming into the marketplace at 147. We're covering the whole school, just the way some of these plugs will. Make sure you stop by. You get your new and renewing subscription to the Fisherman magazine. You will get the 4-inch Tsunami iPop popper. You're also going to get an email with a $20 gift card from Surehold Marine Products. Now, we also have special offers, special raffles at some of these shows where we're going to be, and that includes Atlantic City. Anybody that gets their new or renewing subscription at one of our booths will be entered into a drawing to win a Sterling Wide Tracker package and a sweatshirt of your choice. That's going to be in Atlantic City, which I should say, congratulations, by the way, to David Hankins of Whiting and Cliff Hansen of East Brunswick. They were the winners of our Sterling Tackle prize package over this past weekend in Oaks and Edison. Oaks, PA was the Philadelphia Fishing Show. Edison was the New Jersey Boat Sale and Expo. Next show at Edison, by the way, is mid-March, March 15th, 16th, and 17th. That's the big saltwater fishing expo. We will be there. You know who's going to be in Atlantic City, working side by side with me in the booth next week? Is our own Jenni Ackerman. In this week's open boat, she's going to shed a little light on that ugly, nasty sound you hear when you throw that cast and you hear that fling, pop, and then you lose a $20 plug. Sometimes those ceramic guides on your favorite surf stick, they get a little rough around the inside. Jenni's going to talk about that, show you how to test your guides and get yourself all prepped for the season, and even some advice on some guide replacement. Jenni.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. So we're continuing our winter workbench series here, and I'm going to be going over something really important. Have you ever had a time where you're casting your favorite plug and you go to cast and you let it go and all of a sudden, poof, your line snaps and you're like, what just happened? So you bring in your line and you see that it wasn't your knot, it was your braid. What happened? I don't know. The amount of times that I've had customers come in to like Grumpy's and address this with me, it's insane. So this is why I'm here, to help you guys out in solving this problem. So the one main factor is to check your guides. It's so easy to nick a guide. You can hit it against something, drop your rod on the rocks. The ceramic inlay in that guide can chip, which can cause your braid to snap and you can lose your favorite plug. So if this keeps happening and you've checked everything else, you've checked your reel, you've checked your knots and everything, make sure you check your guide. So you can use like a little X-Acto knife here and you're just gonna run the X-Acto knife through all your guides as you check. So by doing this, you should feel just constant, smooth with the blade as you're running it through. No little nicks or stops or anything. If you do feel a nick in your guide, that means you have a chip in the ceramic, and that is why your line is breaking. So another factor of checking your guides is when you replace the guides. So you can either take it to a rod shop or one of your buddies that builds rods that can fix it for you, or you can do it yourself. But with guide selection, there's a ton of different options, but the guides I like to use when I build my rods are Fuji guides. And all these guides and rod building components are available on Angler's Resource, so make sure you check them out for all your rod building needs. So why do I like Fuji? I like Fuji because they are well-designed guides that cover a wide variety of fishing rod applications. They have a very specific guide height and ring per size, like every single size is specific, which allows you to have a perfect rod for spinning and casting. Top-notch fit and finish, so literally while you're building a guide or a rod itself, all you have to do is tape the guide on that blank, wrap it and epoxy it, and you're ready to go. No need to change anything or adjust it. Of course, you gotta do your guide alignments, but with Fuji guides, you're all set and ready to go once that's epoxied on there. And they have those perfectly smooth ceramic rings that reduce heat and stress on fishing line, which eliminates fishing line failure while fighting the largest of fish. So definitely consider Fuji guides as an option when you're building a rod, if you have to replace guides, or if your buddy's building you a rod. Say, hey, I want to try out some Fuji guides. And if you can spend the extra bucks, definitely get yourself some titanium guides, because oh boy, that rod is going to be super nice and light if you have those guides on there. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to be doing another winter workbench on rod repairs. So I will see you in next week's Open Boat.
In last week's video fishing forecast, I mentioned the New Jersey options for meeting that 28% summer flounder fluke quota cut. We're down in the Emerald Kingdom, D.C., Alexandria, Potomac, Beltway, however you want to put it, that bureaucratic spawning area in Washington, D.C. Well, the government-approved options are back in New Jersey, and the advisors are already looking at them. Now, the guys at Fisherman's headquarters in Ship Bottom have broken down what appears to be, or what looks like could be, the final options to be voted upon on March 7th in Galloway Township. I've been talking about a Manahawkin meeting. That meeting was moved. March 7th, New Jersey Marine Fisheries Council. That's where the fluke regulations are going to get finalized in Galloway Township. Now, on screen, you've got a list of the summer flounder fluke options that we're going to be possibly looking at. I guess the advisors could pare this down a little bit, but this is what it essentially looks like at this point. You've got this, well, what is it? You've got the SQ, that's status quo. That's not an option. That's really not an option. One of these down here, number 32, that gives us 145 days. That's the most days of fluke season we could possibly get. That's the 3 at 18 option. There's another unique option in here. If you look at that, option number 57, 18, 3 at 18 on the boat, but if you're fishing from shore, it's 2 at 17 inches throughout the Garden State. Now that's 131 days. Another shorter day here is, as we go down, is 129 days. That will give the slot again. Some folks really want the slot, some folks don't. And of course, we could knock it down to 3 at 17 and a half inches, and then everybody might be compromised happy. But the problem with that one, of course, is then that reduces the number of days quite significantly. We're down to, what is that? 3 at 17 and a half inches is 104 days. So those are the options. You'll get a chance to review those March 7th. 14 days off across the board at 3 for 18, 131 versus 145. That's where I think it's going to be, somewhere along the lines of 3 at 18, or perhaps 3 at 18 and the 2 at 17. We'll have to see how everybody feels. Now, I bring this up because that is coming up as well. There's a lot to review, March 7th, New Jersey Marine Fisheries Council. Folks tell me all the time, oh, it's already predetermined, man. They're not going to listen to us. No, they listen to you at the March meeting. That's where everybody's going to go, a show of hands and say what they want, and the council can be swayed. We'll be talking about this for the next couple of weeks because we are very close. As just a week after Striper opens, we find out about summer flounder. Then Katie barred the door. We're open. Yeah, I'm obsessed with fluke and stripers. And other than a few blackfish, some cod and pollock and a handful of ling, where the headboats are sailing, the white perch in the canals and the back bays and everything else, what is it at this time of year? Freshwater arena, right? Most of the best action is going on now in the back. I had a great weekend out in Oaks, PA for the Philly Fishing Show. I know from speaking to some of the inlanders, the freshwater opportunities are solid. In fact, I got a message from field editor J.B. Casper this week, a report he received from Dan Kriskowski north of the Delaware River water gap. He picked up 10 walleye last week, all after 4 p.m., jigs and swim baits. Water temperature is still cold, but I'll tell you what, it's still been a mild winter. So a lot of these streams and ponds and lakes where they put some holdover trout in, they're still there. Tell you what, I'm gonna go in the back now. I think I put enough plugs and jig heads in my bag. We're gonna go check out the rods next. But first, for your Sweetwater update first, here's George Shower, the Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Hey, thanks, Jim. You know, I think Mother Nature dealt us another horrible round of weekend weather last week. Snow came in on Saturday and just blew everybody out of the water. Some guys did get out, though. We had a decent day on Sunday. Some folks getting out especially before the extended season of trout ended. You know, Chris Matchison checked in on the last day. He was out there fishing brook trout in Chester County, and he managed to land a couple of those things with a Panther Martin spinner. So great work there, Chris. Thank you for checking in. Also, Frank Rosinski, he was out getting rainbows in South Jersey. Again, as the season starts to close, working those jerk baits, getting some beautiful rainbows. Frank also said he had a couple of really nice crappie and pickerel in the mix to keep things interesting. Now, Sean Sullivan, well, he was up on the Delaware River and getting those walleye. We've been talking about them for a few weeks now. The smallmouth, the walleye, even some muskie are just, being dominant on that Delaware River. So, guys, if you want to get into a good bite, get into that right now. It's a great time of year. We all know the shad is coming. Everybody's starting to talk about that. Guys are getting really excited. We got shad flea markets all over the place, so it's a good time of year if you're into shad to go ahead, visit some of these flea markets, gear up with some of the local tackle makers. A lot of guys out there making spoons, darts, and such, and you can get them at these little flea markets and support a lot of the local tackle makers. Also, keep an eye on the Delaware River temps. Guys, are still cold. I checked again this morning, and I look around Regalsville right now. Temperature was 39 degrees, so we still have a little bit to go before that shad start moving up. Also, I wanted to stop and thank everybody for coming by and talking with us at the Philly Fishing Show down at Oaks. We really enjoyed everyone that stopped by and talked everything fishing. It was a great weekend, and I hope to see you all again there next year. So guys, be sure you get out and send us those pics so we can feature your catch. But for right now, from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
From the Pocono Mountains to the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, let's check in with Captain Benn, jackpot sport fishing out of Marina Pez Vela in Cape Os.
Guys, how's it going? This is Ben Gilmore from down here in Costa Rica, enjoying another beautiful sunset here on the Pacific coast. This week's fishing report, guys, we got a really strong billfish bite happening out there right now. Just today aboard my boat Good Day, we released 8 sailfish, big Pacific sailfish in the 70 to 100 pound range, just epic fishing. Just the other day we had the ladies tournament of the year down here at Marina Pez Vela. Absolutely insane weekend. 700 sailfish released by the fleet, 9 blue marlin and plenty of dorados and a few tuna also. Just hitting the scales the last couple of days, there was an 88 pound yellowfin tuna and an 83 pound yellowfin tuna for Gypsy Girl, one of our new charter boats here in the marina. Along the beaches and the rocks, we had some really nice rooster fish, some 20-30 pounders running right now. Some Cubera snappers have been getting caught, along with bluefin trevally, triple tail, jacks and mackerel as well. Over the last week, we had some epic snook fishing. There was a 38-pound snook weighed the other day, and lots of other fish in the 20 to 30-pound range as well. When are you guys coming down to see us? We're waiting here, Marina Pez Vela. Just check out the beautiful project that we have here. Come on down and see us. We are ready, my friends.
Cold as it is here in the Northeast, I sure wish I was in Capos right now. Heading into this weekend here in New Jersey, winter, hey, it's the last weekend in February. How about that? A couple of fishy events to tell you about coming up this weekend. On Saturday, February 24th, the folks at Tackle World on Route 17 North in Rochelle Park have in-store special offers, goodies, and seminars on striped bass, fluke, and blackfish. Now, the seminars were RSVP. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, but you can still call to find out about those seminars and about the specials that are going on there at Tackle World, 201-587-0011, and be sure to be on the lookout for those Z-blade bait holder style circle hooks, because guys that are going to be worming come next week, March 1st, you're going to want those bait holder style hooks to hold those $1.25, $1.50 bloodworms in place. Oh yeah, man, it's expensive again. Think about how cold it is here in New Jersey and how cold it must be in Maine. That's where they do all the bloodworm digging. So go figure. Shad fishing on the Delaware, another terrific spring fishery. It's a tradition here in the Garden State. That fishery should begin sometime in March, though really the height of the shad fishery is April. If you've never done it, you should. It's a tradition that goes back to our very first president. Yes, George Washington himself was a shad man. So this Saturday, February 24th, out in the Trenton area, the folks at Old School Outdoors are hosting a shad fishing workshop with my friend Kevin Ingram, the Shadowlack Lures guy. It's not going to be at Old School Outdoors. It's up the road a little bit. But if you want some information on that Kevin Ingram Shad seminar this Saturday in the Trenton area, call Old School Outdoors at 609-227-8142. Now finally, back in my neighborhood in northern Ocean County on Sunday, you've got the 28th annual Ocean Fire Company #1 Fishing Flea Market. That is Sunday, February 25th from 8:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. That's at the Antrim School at 401 Niblick Street in Point Pleasant. Admission is $5. Kids under 12 are free. 12 and under are free, I believe. For info on that one, contact Matt at 732-213-2133. Boom! The Bureau of Ocean and Energy Management, aka the landlords of the largest government land giveaway since bison roamed the Great Plains, well, they're at it again. Their massive industrialization plan, plotting out lease rights for foreign corporations to drive thousands of turbines into the seafloor. Now they're taking public comment once again. It's a process, really, public comment. It's more like a takeout menu. You can order the combo, but there's no substitutions. Now these faraway lease sites that they're talking about now in the New York Bight, right up here off of Monmouth County, they're all over some of our traditional offshore fishing grounds. They require a high voltage direct current, or HVDC system, to convert the AC power over to DC for transporting over greater distances. That's where those giant substations are going to be. And they have to suck out ocean water with all the plankton and larvae to cool the interior power that's going to need cooling, and then they're going to spit out 90-some degree water filled with chlorine, and imagine how many things. Is there a problem with that? Yeah. I would say so. Now, I'm bringing that up because the latest public comment is due February 26th. And earlier this week, not far from here at Fisherman's Source in Long Branch, Cindy Ziff and the Clean Ocean Action folks held a public hearing. That was on Tuesday night. A revival, if you will, gathering public comment to send to that brick wall that is BOEM. About 75 or 80 people were there to provide comment through Clean Ocean Action to the Sea Lords at BOEM for the deadline of February 26th. A deadline, 45 days to review about 1,000 pages of literature. I already just started skimming through it. Greg Kudnick, He has looked it over. He was there. He testified on Tuesday. Actually, I testified right after him. I've got the links here in this week's video. It's down in the description. You can look for Greg Cudnick's 6 or 7 minute testimony on industrial offshore wind impacts on fishing, and also mine that came right after Greg. I'll try to make more of that in the next couple of weeks because I think it's important this time of year. A dead dolphin washed ashore along the beaches of Avalon the other day. No evidence, of course, to suggest that industrial offshore wind survey vessels had anything to do with this or the dozens of other dead mammals that have washed up along our Jersey beaches in the last 2 years. Bohm says no evidence. I mean, there's really no evidence. So, notice to mariners in South Jersey, keep a wide berth around the Hornbeck Offshore Services vessel, the HOS Browning. That's a 290-foot ship, which I believe is Mexican flagged. It's involved in geotechnical survey operations for Atlantic shores, the lease area off of Atlantic City. The Browning has been all over waters in South Jersey and Avalon and doing their geotechnical survey. Again, there's no direct evidence there. Atlantic City Boat Show next week. This is the last time I'll talk to you until I'm talking to you from the shore of the showroom floor of the Atlantic City Boat Show. All the seminars, that's going on from Wednesday through Sunday. Of course, mark it down. A week from this Sunday, March 3rd, you got to come out here to Fisherman Source. Maybe you want to spend a little bit of time at the Asbury show. That's just down the road a few minutes. That opens up early in the morning. You get a couple of plugs and then head over here to Fisherman Source. We talked about the deals, all these great rods. Basically everything in here is on sale. The Jigging World stuff, everything, whatever you find. Plus they've got some really cool giveaways too. I'm not sure if this is going to be available when I walk out the door here, but you do have a Saltex 6000. That's going to be part of a giveaway with a new Saltex rod, a couple of Centaur rods, and a Century surf top. That is next Sunday, March 3rd. Lock it in. I will remind you about this next week. Of course, when I'm in Atlantic City, I'll be having a great time at the boat show. And I wish I was going to be here as well, but you can't be 2 places at one time. Although we are so many times with so many shows. We do have a few more. We will be in Asbury next Sunday. Probably somebody will stop by here. And of course, we're only a few weeks away from the big Saltwater Fishing Expo in Edison. That's March 15th, 16th, and 17th. But again, 8 more days to go until we are back in business. And March Madness is officially underway. And I would keep you updated on this one as well. We still are waiting to find out about porgy. Okay, so while porgy and fluke and sea bass options that we're going to look at on March 7th in Galloway, they're all connected. We're also waiting for NOAA Fisheries to confirm that we're allowed to open up our porgy season. That could be done at any time in the next week, 2 weeks, could happen this weekend. I'm not sure, but as soon as it does, we will let you know. 8 days. And considering there's an extra day in the month being a leap year this year, that means we're pretty much 1 week out. And I ain't got nothing but love, babe. 8 days a week. 8 days. Catch 'em up, my friends. We'll see you next week in Atlantic City, right here at thefisherman.com.